12 years ago, I did my first powerlifting meet, and it changed my life. I put on muscle, I gained strength, I met my wife, I started my business, and I've gone on to break world records, and now I coach some of the best lifters on the planet. To take your first steps on this journey, jump in with us in episode 2 of the Path of Powerlifting series, where we'll discuss how to choose a powerlifting federation and how to decide on your first powerlifting competition. When I first began powerlifting, there weren't a lot of choices in competitions or federations. Now there are a staggering number of powerlifting federations, often with different rule sets, and it can be confusing to try to figure out where you belong. First things first, what the heck is a powerlifting federation? A powerlifting federation is an organizational body that's going to set the rules of competition. So if you're looking to compete in powerlifting, one of the first decisions you need to make is which federation you're interested in competing in. I'll start by using myself as an example. I compete in the International Powerlifting Federation, or IPF for short. The IPF is the biggest and most popular federation, comprising over 100 member nations. The IPF uses the highest standard for drug testing and opts to use the same drug testing standards as Olympic athletes by being compliant with WADA, also known as the World Anti-Doping Agency. All right, now the IPF is the highest level, or the international level, of organization in the federation, which then breaks down into the regional organizational bodies. There are regional federations for Africa, Asia, North America, Oceania, Europe, and South America. From there, it further breaks down into the national levels. Here in Canada, we have the Canadian Powerlifting Union, or CPU, and in the States, there's Powerlifting America, also known as PA. From the national level, it further breaks down once more, and I promise this is the last step, to the local level. In Canada, these are the provincial bodies. Where I am, in Alberta, is the Alberta Powerlifting Union, or APU. There's the BCPA, OPA, all the other provinces. And in PA, it's going to break down to the state level. So if I were a first timer looking to try to compete for the first time in powerlifting, where I am right now here in Calgary, I would look for the APU website and the APU listings for local competitions. And if you're in the States, you're going to want to try to find the state body within PA. So if you're interested in IPF competition and you're trying to find out if there's an organization running sanctioned meets near you, there's gonna be another link below that you can check to see if there are any affiliated organizations in your area. It's worth noting that in order to compete, you will likely need a membership to your chosen federation. Memberships range in price, but will all be easily accessible on the federation's website. Here's a quick example. All right, so as you can see here, I'm on the Alberta Powerlifting Union website, powerliftingab.com, and look at that, right on the homepage, it says become a member. So we're gonna click that. We're gonna ignore this and pretend the Alberta Powerlifting Union did not make a rap video. And we're gonna scroll down and see the details for different levels of memberships. So you can see the open membership, anyone over the age of 23. Junior membership is 19 to 23, and special and youth membership is for 14 to 18 Special Olympics athletes, and any honorary members. Not sure exactly what that means, but if you're one, you probably know. So you're going to continue to click through here to get to the online membership. As you can see here, for any Canadian Powerlifting Union membership, in order to sign up for a meet, you're going to need to present a completed True Sport Clean online education module certificate. So you'll have to go through that online course, and it goes over doping infractions and drug testing procedures and all that kind of stuff. Another thing to note here is that when you get your membership to the APU, which is the Alberta branch of the federation, you will also need to purchase a membership to the CPU, or Canadian Powerlifting Union, the national federation. That's all factored into these costs here and laid out really nicely and cleanly here. The other thing to note on the website is if you go to contests, you can go to upcoming events, and that's where you're going to find all the details on any of the upcoming competitions in your area. So I think most websites are laid out about this well, I would hope, and that should get you through to having a membership and taking the next steps there. Now, not every federation is interested in pursuing solely drug-free competition. Powerlifting is one of the few sports where there are federations that allow people who want to use PEDs a place to compete without breaking the rules. Enter the WRPF, the World Raw Powerlifting Federation. The events sanctioned by the WRPF include drug-tested and non-tested, and their events allow lifters to sign up as and compete against other lifters in their chosen category. We'll put links in the description below if you'd like to check out either federation's website or rulebook. Aside from the differences in drug testing policies, federations will also differ in the supportive equipment that lifters can wear and in the equipment that the lifts are performed on. In the IPF, there are classic and equipped divisions. The classic division allows the use of wrist wraps and knee sleeves and a belt. Equipped allows the use of much more supportive equipment, like suits, but not this kind of suit. We use squat suit as well as knee wraps, plus the usual belt and wraps. For the bench press, equipped lifters are allowed to use a bench shirt. And for the deadlift, we wear a deadlift suit. If you're wondering what the difference between a singlet and a suit is, if it's not made obvious by my discomfort and inability to move in this thing, the material and the stretchiness of a singlet is very different than the stiffness of the material in a suit. Now, it's worth noting that there are differences between what the IPF deems raw and what untested federations like the WRPF consider to be raw. In many of the untested federations, there is a division for raw with wraps versus raw with sleeves. Regardless of the equipment rules in your chosen federation, our sponsor for this video series has got you covered. Inner Strength Products carries everything that you might need to be as supported or as raw as you want to be. You can head to innerstrengthproducts.ca for great deals on a wide selection of products ranging from shoes to belts to sleeves to wrist wraps, all the way to suits and knee wraps. They've got it all. The shipping is great, the people are awesome, they got good deals on everything, so be sure and go check out innerstrengthproducts.ca. Another thanks to them for sponsoring the video. Now let's get back to it. Now that we've talked a little bit about the equipment that lifters will be in while lifting, let's talk a little bit about the equipment lifted on in each federation. In the IPF, they're going to utilize a 28mm stiff power bar for all three disciplines, the squat, the bench press, and the deadlift. They're also going to use a combo rack for the squat and bench, which means all lifters will have to walk out their squats. In other federations, there can be a variety of bars used. In the WRPF, for example, bar length can range from 2.2 to 2.5 meters, and meet directors will often opt to use a 32mm thick bar in the squats while using a thinner 27mm bar in the deadlift. Federations like the WRPF also will sometimes allow the use of what's called a monolift, and this eliminates the need for lifters to walk their squats out. As you can imagine, differences in federations extend even beyond what we've talked about before, into things like age category breakdowns and different weight classes. To learn more about any of those things, check the links in the description box below. But for now, I want to get on to talking about when you should commit to your first meet. If you can execute the lifts to a competition standard, then you're ready to compete. You don't need to be a certain strength level. Nobody is going to judge you or care how much you lift. It's really important in the earliest stages of powerlifting to remember that it's just you versus you versus you. Your first competition should be to give yourself the most honest and strict measure of your capabilities. The goal being to improve and to accurately measure your progression. Don't gatekeep yourself, don't hold yourself back, just get out there and friggin' do it. The next question you might be asking yourself is, how long do I need to prepare for my meet? Many training programs are designed with a competition in mind. So if you can do a little bit of research when choosing a program, try to find one that's meant to end in a competition. A good example of this is the Calgary Barbell 16-week program that you can get for free in the description box below. That one, you run for 16 weeks, you compete on the weekend of week 16. Or you could always use one of the nearly 50 programs in the Calgary Barbell Training app. And myself or one of our other coaches can help you decide on a timeline for your competition and organize your training in our weekly check-ins. I realize that may have been a lot of information to process and to try to retain, so I want to break it down into a too long didn't watch. If you want to compete without the use of drugs, check out the IPF. If you want to compete with the use of performance-enhancing drugs, check out the WRPF. Although, understand that you can compete in the WRPF's drug-tested division. Also worth noting is there will be a difference in the equipment that you can use as a lifter, i.e. knee wraps, sleeves, etc., and the equipment that you're going to perform the lifts on in terms of the racks or monolift or not. A final note would be to try to train the way you plan to compete. And this means both the equipment that you're wearing and the equipment that you're training on. In our next Path of Powerlifting video, we're gonna go in depth on the competition standards and how to ensure that your training is gonna adequately prepare you for the competition in your chosen federation. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.